Classroom Management Plan, Joseph A. Garcia, Art Classes. Management Philosophy. All students will feel safe and included. All students are capable of succeeding. Students will learn the state standards and not feel as if they are not capable of meeting them. Students will learn about theirs and others' cultures and history. We do not compete with each other, but strive to improve ourselves and help each other. There is more than one brain type, and we all learn in different ways, and no one's way is best. Cultural congruence. What kinds of culturally congruent strategies will occur in your classroom that acknowledge and honor the diversity of students and families? In coursework, there are multiple projects done throughout the semester that allow for cultural background to be explored and expressed in an art project. We cover a major art form from each continent, starting in middle school. In the high school art, we learn more art history and detail. This way, the students can learn about the nations they are descended from. My most direct project is Native American ledger art. As many of my students are Native American, many Sioux, Assiniboine, and Crow, as a deliberate effort was made to eradicate their culture, I make a point to teach what I can. My curriculum also covers the cultures of ancient cultures like Egypt, Mesoamerica, and Mycenae, and others. It helps to emphasize the lesson I want as part of the daily routine that all cultures have something to teach. That just because it is different doesn't make yours or others wrong or bad. Using one that is considered an ancient art helps alleviate potential negative bias towards a different culture, while at the same time teaching how humans are always human, even in a different time. In daily routine, acknowledge the way respect is shown varies according to cultures and or neurodivergent behaviors. Use procedures to teach routine behavior that is neutral. Never allow disrespect towards other cultures to be expressed. Use it as a teaching moment if it occurs. Acknowledge love, not just blood makes family. Many of my students do not have a traditional family or background. I myself, though I have a traditional family now, do not come from one. This allows me to have a perspective on how that can translate in behavior in family-based projects. It also allows me to prevent and address negative comments students might make about another student or their own family. Treat all students equally and with respect. Positive and negative consequences are based on rules and procedures, not personal bias. I am aware of the cultural background of my students and act accordingly. This is especially important when it comes to eye contact. Maintaining eye contact is seen as respectful for some cultures and offensive to others. Classroom arrangement. The tables are in one long row. I cannot move but have separated by color. These seats are tall stools with tennis ball caps to save the floor. Most equipment is in cabinets along one wall, arranged according to type of supply and amount of use. Any sharp or dangerous equipment is in the cabinets behind my desk. These supplies are arranged according to medium and use. After some mishaps, I have tempera, acrylic, and oil paints in cabinets spaced from each other. Pens and pencils have holders that separate them according to type. This keeps it easy to set up a lesson and clean up afterwards. Because I roam while teaching, after the initial instruction at the smartboard area, I can place students where I know they will be the most likely to succeed, either close to me or during the instruction or far away from the distractions like the trash can. I have purchased thin cutting boards after noting how students would damage the thick plastic sheet over the wooden table. This should prevent the damage as they will be taped to the plastic. I am also going to alter the color paper covering with large plastic party tablecloths, as when the plastic is damaged, it water stains the paper. The success of the student organization spacing and behavior done by the color separation will be kept and added to. Contemplation. The limited size and rotation of class limits what kind of projects I can teach. Large-scale projects like silk screening or multiple people on pottery wheels are not an option. If I had the original art room, now the science room, in the building, it is twice the size with more storage. That being said, as I teach in both rooms, I am not sure if I would make the switch, as the accessories like the kiln gas hookups would be difficult to switch. Rules and procedures. Core procedures. Morning greeting and check-ins. When possible, I say hello or make friendly eye contact with students when they enter the room. Wait until everyone is in before taking roll. Say name and say greeting when taking roll. I teach in 2 rooms on different floors, therefore I can't be the first one in the room. Room is clean and organized with the best lighting I can accomplish. The students do clean, but I make sure things are truly clean, in a good state of repair, and in the correct location. Clear classroom routines. I make sure students know and follow routines to enter, sit down, receive instructions, get materials, put them away when done, turning in assignments, and leave the room. Paperwork to back up routines. Feedback is regular after an assignment and as needed during. If a student is doing well and their efforts are praised, if they are off task, they are redirected. Positive reinforcement. Students receive positive reinforcement for good behavior and efforts. Artists of the week to be shown in the frame of fame for the student who tried the most or followed instructions well, made great improvements. I repaired a frame because so many of my students need to know what is damaged can be repaired and held in honor. Differentiated instruction. Students who need accommodation are met where they are to be to ensure they can learn to the best of their abilities. For example, students that hyperfixate are allowed to do their topic of interest like football or the Titanic, as long as it follows the lesson. So draw a line, art Titanic, or perspective in a football field. Regularly monitor student behavior and interactions to identify potential issues and intervene promptly. Review afterwards to see if I need to add or subtract anything from the classroom itself, change seating or its rules or procedures. Rules, procedures. Prepping for success. The important little things that help. My first core routine is how we enter and get our materials from our labeled cubbies. Labels are very necessary to keep things organized and to let the student feel they are part of the room. Large clock timer with a red dial has helped students to keep awareness of time more than just my 5-minute cleanup timer. Daily cleanup is in the rubric, and I do make note of it. Students who do a regularly good job get extra credit. To keep students in their seat, the pencil sharpener is rechargeable and thus mobile. Raise your hand and I will deliver it to you and remove it afterwards. After a failure of a sound decibel meter, I forgot of the loud ductwork in the room that sets it off. I reward maintaining the correct sound level with musical choice. Rules, procedures, development of the B rules. The problem. For high school students, I found posted rules made them angry and less likely to work. They were far more likely to stay on task if they felt it was their choice, not my rule. Middle school, however, has been another matter altogether in behavior. Throughout the year, I have learned how much they need posted rules. I had rules on our syllabus, which we go over the first week. I added routines procedures onto the assignment to help remind students of what was expected without constant reminder. I needed posted rules the high schoolers would not object to and all students could learn from. So I came up with the behavioral plan. I made bee-themed artwork to go with a rule, seen more as a title of the artwork by the high school students, who were given agency by choosing what title rule would go with each piece. The B rules, the solution. The dad joke aspect of the rules makes them seen as less of an esteem challenge. After reading in our textbook how much poverty affects how students react in order to save face, adolescence, it is of paramount importance to those living in extreme poverty. When being disciplined, therefore, these students may shrug or laugh off a teacher's reprimand, or they may talk back in a manner the teacher interprets as insolent, because they are willing to get into more trouble to keep from appearing weak to their peers. Emmer, page 293. I knew then how I need to change the way I presented rules. Before, when I reprimanded a misbehaving student of a rule, others would come to their defense and or break the rule as well. With a bad dad joke to behave, referencing the necessary rule, the room is sweeter. I can change the rules titles as needed and or add in new art for additional rules and titles. Students may submit B-themed artwork to add to the rules as well, or submit an idea for an addition. This makes rules a part of our room where we all have agency within. Student engagement, motivation, and responsive action. Frame of fame. Praise is given within the classroom. I am sure to praise every effort and positive development. I decided against physical rewards like stickers after consulting with my fellow teachers due to potential behavioral issues some of the students have. I had a gilt frame that had been smashed delivered to me by a janitor. As she knows, I repair what I can. It took a week of work to glue and resculpt the missing plaster and layer on the new gilt. While repairing the frame, the idea came on how to use it as the frame of fame. As part of the high school curriculum, we do art critiques in the salon style. Now there is the added portion of the piece selected to go into the frame of fame as a piece that either show the most progress by artists or best fit the style, etc. This gives the student agency in choice and the desire for esteem. The results are immediate, as students wanted to earn the spot in the frame of fame and were even proud when their friends earned the spot. I have seen direct improvement in attention to lessons in order to gain skill to earn the frame. The process of salon has been extended and elaborated, keeping the lesson process dynamic. Student engagement, motivation, and responsive action. I like to paint to music. It keeps me focused and less inwardly self-critical of my work. Knowing this, I have incorporated music of age-appropriate material, mainly Disney soundtracks, in the art lessons for the middle school. If the students listen throughout the instruction time and are quietly working, I will give a vote for a musical selection. If a student violates the quiet portion of the lesson, they lose their vote. This motivates the students who have a difficult time with blurting to remain focused. It also helps the students who have difficulty speaking up learn to have more of a voice, especially after their sister requested Coraline after playing it nonstop at home the previous day, and their request to not hear it today was honored. Student engagement, motivation, and responsive action. Positive behaviors, reward, passion project. Within our class, there is a fair amount of self-expression. The assignments, however, must be followed and not just anything is allowed. If, however, a student has worked diligently and accomplished their assignment well and before the other students are done, I allow for a passion project. This is a student-developed project they have asked permission for that I will allow and help supply. This keeps the finished student from taking over another student's task or causing a disruption due to boredom. The reason for pre-approval is 1, to make sure the project is appropriate, and 2, to have the supplies set aside in a labeled Ziploc or box so there is little interruption to the other students. This motivates students to do their work, but also reflect and analyze on what they really want to do. This also works towards building skills and developing yourself as an artist. This is also the basis for my advanced art class, where the students are supposed to design their passion projects into a professional art portfolio. Student engagement, motivation, and responsive action. I address student problem behaviors with immediate addressing the issue or redirecting the behavior. After the initial issue has been resolved, I reflect as to why it occurred and how to prevent it in the future. This has resulted in the development of a behavioral form that is assistive to track behavior. Tracking negative behavior helps to see if it repeats and why, and if more steps are needed, such as contacting the parents. I haven't had to use it much, as developing it helped me to focus on what the problem areas were and address them in other ways, like adding in procedures and changing the classroom arrangement. Student engagement, motivation, and responsive action. The needs of students with special needs is always close to my heart and mind. I want to be the teacher that helps, not hinders. It takes learning about each abilities and how to use their strengths to help them develop. I scaffold all my middle school lessons due to the high number of IEP students. This requires me to fully develop a curriculum on my own based on the students I have and their needs. My younger self would have been too rigid in thinking for this. My son, however, has taught me a better method to always learn in order to teach. When responding to any behavior, I take into account the student's needs. For example, I don't demand a high five from a student who hates touch. Find another praise method. The student with ADD is not off task on purpose. Let the student with the need to pace, to think, to do so in the back of the room. This way, learning processes, and we all have the advantage of multiple modes of thought and creativity. Collaboration with families and community. Before I ever contact a student's family, I like to ensure every opportunity for the correction of behavior is done by the student. Parents are overworked themselves, and adding to that stress will not help the parent, student, or the learning experience. I am perhaps overcautious contacting parents in fear of retribution on the student due to personal experience, but I also want the student to learn to ask for help and to work diligently on their own. I will first address any problem behavior with a direct or reminder to stay on task. I try to ascertain what is causing the behavior. Are they not motivated, or do they not understand but are not sure how to ask? I make sure students are aware of deadlines and missing work. Students are aware they can come to me after school for help. I also offer lots of extra credit so students can make up lost points. I will collaborate and network with other teachers to see if the student's negative behavior in my class is singular or widespread. This has been helpful when the behavior was widespread, as we could then find a positive solution quicker together and not feel isolated and frustrated as teachers. If after several attempts to correct the behavior or too many ignored reminders to turn in assignments, I will then call the parents, usually after work hours, to collaborate towards a solution. Blame and recriminations are not part of my conversations, only the seeking of reasons and solutions. Collaboration with families and community. The activity that made the largest impact in the benefit of knowing art was unexpected. The volleyball team needed a photographer, and I was the only person available. When the students reviewed the photos I took and they saw the difference composition lighting makes, as most of the volleyball team are also taking one art course, they can now see how artistic knowledge can apply to their daily life, even if they do not pursue a career in the field of art. I am not sure if I want to continue to photograph sports, but during student-teacher conferences it helped the parents to know who I was. This experience has made me aware of the need to be seen by the community more, and as the students are improving in art, I am thinking we should incorporate a student art show in the next semester.